Gonna silence my face. Okay. Okay, I am going to begin. Uh, welcome. Welcome, everyone. My name is Caroline McKinley. I am the Education and Outreach Librarian at the New York Medical College. Please forgive the big truck, which seems to be backing up right now. Hopefully you can hear me without any difficulty. What I'd like to do in the next 45 minutes to an hour is talk to you about how to conduct an effective literature review. And we had a class a couple of weeks ago on topic development, how to refine your topic in a very focused way, how to develop some ideas for an effective literature review topic or thesis topic. What I'd like to do now is go through sort of the fundamentals of how to search, as well as how to bring it all together, how to connect the dots between the different studies. I also wanted to point out that this is just the beginning. I am available. You can book a consultation with me when you have an idea of what your topic is and you need more help with the databases and searching for the databases. By all means, you can email me at cmckinley without the Y at nymc.edu, or you can fill out a consultation request form and reach out to any one of our librarians. So let's begin. What is a literature review? What is it not? What types of sources are searched, collected, and examined? And how do we search? So let's just go through some fundamentals and some basics. And I'm actually going to quickly close my window here. Look better. So most of you know what a literature review is, but even those who do kind of get a little confused about what it is. Completely understandable. I work with residents at Westchester Medical Center who still kind of get a little confused by it. What a literature review is, it provides the landscape, the research landscape, as well as the boundaries or borders of the current research on a topic. Okay. It's a review, an evaluation, and your critical summary of a collection of research and scientific literature by accredited scholars and researchers that is the most relevant and significant to your research topic. Okay. And the purpose is to demonstrate that you have gained a thorough knowledge of your subject. Okay. The literature review is not just a descriptive list of the material available or a set of summaries on your topic. It is not an information dump. It is new knowledge, either from a lab or from an observation, that you have collected and synthesized for your narrative or literature review. So in a thesis, if you're doing a thesis is a primary source. You use the literature as a foundation or as support for your hypothesis, offering new insight for your hypothesis or that you have established. The focus of a literature review however, is to summarize and synthesize the arguments, the new information, the new discoveries, the primary arguments, the primary sources and ideas of others. Okay. So think of your scientific paper, your literature review or your thesis as a scientific debate, a conversational debate between authors of different studies. They're offering their evidence, what their methods were, what their conclusions, and you're the moderator of the debate. You're asking questions. So in a thesis, you're connecting these different studies together in support of your hypothesis. And in a literature review, you're connecting the arguments or hypotheses of others. You're creating a coherent synthesis of information. What does that look like? What does that mean exactly? Well, you're not just summarizing. You're showing the relationships between different original works and organizing these ideas into a scientific debate that supports and is related to your hypothesis or your topic. You're pointing out the conflicts, the differences, or the gaps in the major theories. Does one study refute another? Does one study detract from another, modify another, support another? And it goes well beyond just merely summarizing studies. It focuses on a specific study of a topic that's of interest to you. And it's a critical discourse of the relationships among different works and how you relate this to your topic. So, what are the sources that you're using? The scholarly literature is the collection of journal articles, preprints, conference papers, government documents, and other scholarly works you found to be relevant to your research topic. And primary sources, new information, new discoveries should encompass most of your references in a literature review, as well as a thesis. In a literature review is a secondary source, but you're connecting primary sources together. Excuse me. Okay, you want to use our databases, such as PubMed, Embase, Web of Science, perhaps Google Scholar. This is what you use to find those primary sources for your literature review or your thesis. You'd be surprised. Some people get a little confused as to what primary sources are, or how do I determine if something is a primary source? It's original research papers written by researchers who conducted the study. It's usually the authors are those who conducted the study. How do you know? It usually contains the methods section, a methods section or methods of how they did their research. It's represented by a published article reporting on original research or a study. Can be in form of a randomized control trial or a case control or a case series or a case report. Can also be a preprint. We've seen an explosion of preprints since the pandemic because time was of the essence, and preprints technically are not peer reviewed. It's a more accelerated way for pre-publication. Could be a conference proceeding, which is a published record of a conference that includes abstracts or papers from the researchers presenting that original work. Now, most of you are going to be using published articles that represent these primary studies. And the purpose of the original research is to produce new knowledge or discoveries rather than presenting the existing knowledge in a new summarized way, synthesized way, which is what you are doing in a literature review. If it's a thesis, it is new knowledge. Okay, let's see. Data set could be a primary source. It's the raw data that help produce the results of the study. It's a thesis. If you're doing a thesis, that's a primary source. A patent, a technical or government report, a survey or questionnaire, results from a survey or questionnaire. Lab results in information in a lab notebook. What are secondary sources? Secondary sources analyze, evaluate, and interpret the information contained within primary sources. It can be an article in a scholarly publication, synthesizing results of original research. A systematic review is an example of a secondary source, which answers a specific research question by analyzing a collection of primary studies. literature review or narrative review as a secondary source. You're not going to be citing in your paper. You can use review articles and systematic reviews as a foundation for your background information to understand a concept. But you're not going to be citing these secondary sources. You're going to be citing primary sources. Remember, you're connecting primary sources together. Obviously, tertiary literature is sources that compile, analyze, and digest secondary sources such as textbooks, encyclopedia entries, or guidelines. Tertiary literature provides an overview of key research findings. Again, you're not going to be citing this, but maybe you need to look up a definition or get some background information. It's usually not credited to a particular author. Okay. Okay. So how do you know? Once again, you will clearly see the research question in a primary source and how the study was done, the methods, the study characteristics, the problem, the treatment or the therapeutic intervention. The intervention could be a vaccine. You'll also see the conclusions that were drawn and the purpose of the study. Okay. All right, I am just gonna. 1 second, guys. I just want to quickly close another window. Okay, great. So now let's get into the search. All of you, I'm sure, are very well aware of the magic ands or ors called Boolean operators. Sometimes people aren't really quite sure how to use those. Let me just give you a quick overview. Okay. So you use and. You use and to connect different concepts together. It tells the database, I must have A and or B. It narrows your focus. You use the word or, all caps, to tell the database, hey, I am good with either A or B or C delivered to me in my results. It broadens your search. And if you have keywords that are more than one word, you enclose that phrase with quotation marks. It tells the database, I want that exact phrase delivered to me. Okay. Let's take a look. You can start off easy in a database such as PubMed. And when I say start off easy, in this way, you can find mesh terms or keywords that you can use to develop your search string. If I were to type in, and we're going to get to the database and actual demo in about 5 minutes, but I just wanted to give you an overview. If I were to type in very simply, antibacterial properties, honey wound healing, okay, I would get a lot of results. And from those results, I can grab those keywords in those mesh terms. What is mesh? Okay. MESH stands for medical subject heading in PubMed. In Embase, we have Emtree. Emtree is to Embase what MESH is to PubMed. It's concept searching. It's a great way to kind of construct your search, build your search, build your house, your search house with the foundation, with the bones. So let's say this is our research topic. What are the antibacterial effects of medical honey on wound healing? If you do a very simple search, let me go back. In PubMed, to start off, just no ands or ors or quotation marks. You can start off easy by just typing this in, and you will get some results. This is one such result. And from there, you will see the keywords and the mesh terms that they used, which you can help you build your search. And from that article, from that result, we find that there is indeed a mesh term for honey. It's a medical subject heading for honey. And we break up our concepts, we break up our topic into its main concepts. And the three main concepts are honey, antibacterial, and wound healing. I'm going to get very basic here. Within our honey family, you have one parenthesis, which is the front door, and then the back door on that honey family. And you OR all of the direct relations together, all the synonymous keywords, all the synonymous acronyms together. And you always want to OR the mesh term with the keyword. The reason why that is because if you just search using mesh, there's going to be probably a 1-year lag between when an article gets cataloged in the PubMed database. So to get the most recent articles you want and robust, you want to always OR the synonym with its mesh term. So we have front door, back door on our honey family. And this is just, you're going to be adding more ORs to this. You're going to discover synonyms or acronyms with it that you can OR within this honey family. There's also a mesh term for antibacterial. This little / with therapeutic use, when we get to the database, when I show you the demo, you'll see that there is a subheading for mesh terms. It essentially tells you, what is it I want to do with this mesh term? What is it I want to know about antibacterial agents? In this case, it's I want to know the therapeutic use. You don't have to have a subheading, but if you want to focus in on a particular area, you can certainly use this. And then we have our third concept, which is wound healing. And again, there was a mesh term. This is actually should have a, that quotation mark should be actually not here, but here. And we have our family, our wound healing family. This little asterisk here allows for various roots, various endings. Here I would have heal or heals or ing. Okay. And we have wound infection, which is also a mesh term, and you can apply the subheading for therapy. What is it I want to know about wound infection? Well, I want to have a therapeutic approach. Okay. So these concepts, the more concepts that you add to your search string, your search strategy, each concept, think of it as a Venn diagram. And if you have 2 concepts that you're ANDing, your sweet spot's going to be larger, a little less focused. If you have 3, it's going to be even, the sweet spot's going to get smaller, more focused. You could even have 4. Okay. And I want to show you, we'll get to this. I wanted to show you Embase real quickly. As I mentioned, Embase, Emtree is to Embase what mesh is to PubMed. And this is an example. There was actually, in Embase, there's actually an Emtree term for medical honey liquid barrier dressing, which is pretty focused. And then, of course, we have these other Emtree terms such as granulation wound, antibacteria action. I wanted to point out, and I did this in the last class that we had, these mesh terms grow. The mesh terms definitely, PubMed definitely keeps keeps focus and keeps developing with the medical landscape and the biomedical landscape that's out there. In 2023, there was a mesh term that was developed, post-acute COVID-19 syndrome, which is essentially long-haul COVID, something you might want to, if your topic relates to long-haul COVID and perhaps thrombosis or the results of what happens with long-haul COVID, you can use this as your mesh term to start you off. And another example, this is a new supplementary concept for COVID-19. It's COVID-19 breakthrough infections. What is a supplementary concept? A supplementary concept is essentially, it has not graduated to become a mesh term yet, but I'm sure COVID-19 breakthrough infection supplementary concept will within a year become a mesh term. Okay, let me get to, if I may, I wanted to point out that we do have a GSBMS thesis prep guide, which I mention all the time. And I'm going to, hopefully it will open up right now. Let me do a new share. Beautiful. I'm actually going to just get out of this if I can. Okay, bring you guys over. Okay. Does everyone see my new screen, which says GSBMS thesis prep?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, so I just want to quickly show you how to get to that. This is our homepage. Let me just minimize. Beautiful. Okay. So this is our homepage. If you click on research guides, GSBMS thesis, just type that right in. This will take you right to the GSBMS thesis prep, which has a bunch of information for you. Here is where the recording for this class will live. I wanted to point out that your department uses APA. Here's some examples of how to cite with APA. We also have EndNote Desktop. We provide that to you at the library. It's a wonderful, wonderful citation management software tool. If you have any questions as to how to use it, you can certainly reach out to me, set up an appointment, set up a consult, or you can go directly to meet with a librarian and you can fill out the form and click on a time that's convenient for you. But right now, what I wanted to do, I actually want to, okay, let me just come out of this. And I want to bring this over. I'm going to do a new share. Awesome. Okay. So in order to search in PubMed, I'm assuming all of you can see my homepage. Just want to double check. I know I've asked that a couple of times, but I just want to double check. If you can't, I'm sure you'll let me know. So on our homepage, under quick links, you can access PubMed here, or in our databases page. Let's go to PubMed. Okay. So as I mentioned, you can start off incredibly easy in PubMed. You can go to Mesh Database and you can search honey. There it is. Or sometimes mesh terms aren't so obvious. So it really helps to do a very simple search. Okay. PubMed has been incredibly slow lately. Not quite sure why, but it has been incredibly slow. And it's not just, it's not due to what happened earlier with uh, the hacking or internet. It has nothing to do with that. It's been really for the past 6 months. Okay. Here's an article. Oh, let's just open it up. And what you can see in most cases is a link to the mesh terms that were used. And here I can begin my search with grabbing these mesh terms. So here we have honey, search and mesh. Click on honey. I can see my subheadings if there was a subheading for therapeutic use, I might add it. Did someone have a question? I just heard someone's voice. No? Okay, cool. And we're going to add this to the search builder. Honey, search PubMed. When we go to advanced, that brings us to I call it a blackboard or a drawing board where you can play. And what you want to do with PubMed is I'm going to actually go to our next concept, but you can literally just play and make this larger, and you can click on search and it will add your search details. And this way you can add certain concepts together. And I'll show you what that looks like. This is not going anywhere. Let's go to PubMed. It's a hyperlink. And here, if you noticed in that article, there was also antibacterial agents as a mesh term. You can grab it from there, or you can go right to the mesh database. And here is my mesh term that I want to AND with my honey family. And in this instance, I think I want to add therapeutic use. I don't have to, but in this instance, I think I will. And here are some, just so you have an idea, here are some synonyms that you can OR. And if I do an asterisk, that will allow for different endings. And you're just building here. Okay. You get the idea. I'm searching PubMed. Don't even worry about that. It's just telling you that you're just going to clean up your search. It didn't do anything to the search itself. I'm going to go to advanced. I'm going to bring up my first concept. I'm going to bring up my second concept. And now I can sort of clean it up a little bit. Even though it's really not doing anything to the search. It's not adding or detracting anything to the search. Okay. Now, what was our third concept? We wanted to talk about wound healing. Let's go to PubMed, hyperlink. That search isn't going anywhere. Let's go into our mesh database, or we could type in wound healing. Let's see if there's a search. Wound healing. Search builder. Now, what about, this is not going anywhere. Treatment outcome. Okay. And here are some synonyms that you can add. Let's do this. We're going to or treatment outcome to wound healing. And we're going to or that keyword, synonymous keyword phrase. Okay, search PubMed. Go to advanced, brings us to our Blackboard, our drawing board. We're going to bring up our first family and what are we going to do? We're going to and it. PubMed adds parentheses. So if you've already added them, it's going to add another one. You're going to get a message which says you have an extra parentheses. It's not a big deal. It doesn't do anything to the search. Okay, search. Okay. Following term was ignored. Going back up, going to clean this up a little bit. What happened? That's an extra parentheses there. Okay. And here is where, if you wish, you can begin to start selecting your primary sources, such as clinical trial, randomized control trial. Again, systematic review is considered a secondary source, but it's a secondary study of a collection of primary studies. So with a systematic review, you can open up that article and see the primary studies that were used to develop that secondary study. You might be able to use those references or those sources as a possible reference for your paper. Okay. What I want to do now is I want to go back into PubMed and I want to show you that mesh term. Let's go into mesh. Oh, before I do that, I want to show you what would happen if I did long haul COVID. Very simple. Start off easy. Search. Okay. Let's open this article. Once it decides to open up. What this will do, if you happen to type in long haul COVID in mesh and nothing came up, you can type it into the regular search bar and take a look at some articles that result. And here we have the mesh term that was developed last year. And here is where you can add it to the search. And you can OR it with your various synonymous keywords that you wish to use. Search PubMed. And depending on what your topic of interest is, it's going to go to advanced. Let's bring this up. Perhaps you're interested in so as an example, going to go to advanced, going to bring this up. This is where you could tell yourself, okay, thrombosis is an area of interest. And if if you had a third concept that had to do with pathology, you could certainly add we open this up. I'm just looking for, let's open this up. This was something that you were interested in. You can take a look at the mesh terms used. Okay. I want to see, we got a little bit of time. I want to go back to our home page. And I want to bring you to Embase, which is available here, or under our alphabetical listing of databases. Embase. Here we go. How many times have I signed in today already? Okay, yes. Okay. And as I mentioned way too many times this morning, that Emtree is to Embase what Mesh is to PubMed. So you can start off in Emtree, and perhaps you want medical honey. There we go. Gives you a nice scope note. You can also copy these synonyms. You can take this to the advanced search, and you can OR what you just copied, and you can click on search. And here is that first medical honey family. And then we can go to, this is not going anywhere. Go to Emtree again. We can say wound healing. Like this too. But wound healing will explode to all of these narrower terms. If you don't want to do that, you can, this /EXP means explode. You can click on major focus, but I'm going to explode it. Let's go back to my wound healing. Okay, going to copy these synonyms. I'm going to take this to the advanced search, very similar to PubMed in the sense you go back to the blackboard, the drawing board. I'm going to OR it. I'm going to click on search. And last but not least, go to Emtree. And we're looking for antibacterial properties, antibacterial. A couple of these you can actually use. I want to use antibacterial. Why don't you see if they have I think they have antibacteria, anti-infective, effective treatment. You could really OR with either one of these. Let's just use this one for now. You might want antibacterial agent if you really want to focus on the pharmacological action of honey, antibacterial honey. I'm going to copy these synonyms. I'm going to bring this to the advanced search. It's right there. Search. Okay, now we have three families, medical honey family. And I'm going to combine these with and we only have 3 results. But again, you might want to open that up to antibacterial agents, remember, or antibacterial agents, or antibacterial properties, or equals more. So really kind of a simple way to search. And then what's really helpful is, I'm just going to actually show you something. If I do this under edit, one thing about Embase, it does not like double quotation marks. It likes single quotation marks. It's curious to see what happens when I do that. Oop. Material, test, accept and update. So I thought that was kind of cool. We still only get 3. I wanted to show you, but I'm not. Accept and update. I'm actually going to delete this. Just delete that third one. There we go. And then we're probably still going to just get 3, 15. Just by doing that or broadening the search. And then what's kind of cool, under sources, it's telling you the pure number of Embase results that you get. And then Embase and Medline. Medline essentially is the PubMed is the public interface for Medline. Medline is all of the subscribed content. So it's essentially the same thing. But again, here is where you can limit to study types and publication types. Okay. So what time is it? 1:45. All right, excellent. So now what I'd like to do is, does anybody have any questions? I know it's a lot, but hopefully that offered some assistance to you. No? Okay, well, I will quickly say that, let me just bring this over. I will quickly say that we will be having another class with Dr. Thompson, most likely on a Friday, same time. Rachel, as I mentioned earlier, the recording is going to be on the GSBMS thesis prep guide that I just showed you. Okay? Make sense? You're welcome. So we're going to be, you're welcome. We're going to be having a third class with Dr. Thompson, most likely mid-August on a Friday. Same time, 11 o'clock in the morning. What Dr. Thompson does is he goes through the plan of attack and the dates, the deadlines that you want to be aware of. He really does a great job of helping you organize what it is you need to meet and how to meet it. So I will probably be sending an email in about a week or 2, giving you the date. Again, it'll probably be mid to late August. And again, if you have any other questions, hold on one second. I see there are some questions here. You're welcome. If you need to meet with me, once you have, and you want to talk about, schedule a consult with me, by all means, reach out. You can email me directly and we'll talk about your topic and how to get those search effectively for those primary sources and those primary studies. Or you can reach out to any one of our librarians, meet with the librarian under the help tab at on the homepage of our library homepage. So if there are no other questions, I will say goodbye for now and good luck. It's beautiful out. Have a fantastic weekend. Okay, all. Take care.